Haven't we all said, this is just too hard for me? Saying that, we mean that it's too difficult for us mentally or physically or maybe even spiritually. It's beyond our ability. There's a story in Genesis chapter 18 that is probably familiar to you. God, along with two angels, came to visit Abraham and Sarah one day on their way to Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham and Sarah were old, beyond the age of childbearing, and God told Abraham that Sarah was going to have a baby boy. Sarah was inside the tent when God said that, but she overheard him. When she heard it, she laughed to herself silently and said to herself that it was just impossible for her and Abraham to have a baby as old as they were. It was a laugh of doubt. She knew she was too old to have a baby, and in doubt laughed at the promise. God asked Abraham why she laughed and asked him if anything is too hard for the Lord. Sarah was startled that God knew she had laughed, and out of fear denied laughing. God rebuked her, saying, "Yes, you did." Do you think that God may have been insulted that she would laugh behind his back? He could have said, since you laughed at and doubted the possibility of the impossible, I'll withdraw my promise. But he didn't. God's rebukes are out of love and his desire for us to believe him. God who created us in his likeness and image knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows what is too hard for you. He knew it before you did and still gave you a promise. You read promises God makes in the Bible, and you may think like Sarah that that's just impossible for me. Or maybe God has spoken something to you personally that he wants to do for you, and you think it will never happen. God hears your silent thoughts and laughter of doubt. He may rebuke you as he did in Sarah and Abraham's story and ask you, is anything too hard for the Lord? You may argue, well, that was Old Testament. Okay. In the New Testament, an angel told a virgin she was going to have a baby without knowing a man. She asked how, and the angel said in Luke chapter 1 verse 37, with God nothing shall be impossible. In Luke chapter 18 verse 27, Jesus said, the things which are impossible with men are possible with God. Don't deny or reject what God has promised you. He answers prayer. It may be too hard for you, but it's not too hard for God who loves you. Trust him and act on his promise to you. Nothing is too hard for the Lord. Be blessed and keep close to Jesus.